I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
I'm vengeance.
I have given a name to my pain.
Waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham. I'm Batman.
Welcome to the Social Hour, a Batman on Film podcast, batman-on-film.com. This is episode number 161. I am the founder of Batman on Film, Bill Ramey, and let's ride. Pete Verra, we're riding again. I'm riding with Pete Verra. He's in sidecar right here. I'm looking at him right here to my right.
Yeah, Robin, Squanto, Winter Soldier. Who are the all-time sidekicks of all time? That's me.
I don't know. I avoid sidekicks. I like the main guy. I like the main person.
In order to be the main guy, if we're playing by Mafia rules, I've got to take you out.
Okay.
I'm kind of like hanging out with you, so I'm not going to do that.
All right, Tonto, yeah, he's sidekick, Lone Ranger, all of them. So let's just get right to it. So the people who don't like witty banter, they're in luck today. I may mix some in as we go along.
Oh, you're real fired up. You're just
You want to talk about the new Superman suit first, or about Disney and the MCU cutting back? So they say. Which one you want to do first?
Which one do you want to? Let's go Superman first. Let's go
Superman first.
Yeah.
Superman. James Gunn dropped a picture of David Corenswet in the Superman suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a couple of days ago. I guess was it on all of his media or his social media platforms? I saw it on Threads.
I saw it on Instagram. So sure, yeah, he put it out there. He made sure it was seen. That's for sure.
My first reaction was, and this is honest, I saw it show up in the Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
But I had gotten
Those guys are fast.
I had gotten an email from Warner Brothers about the same time. But anyway, when I saw it in the Facebook group, it was a screenshot. I really thought my first thought was, honestly, this is a Photoshop. And before I put it on Batman on Film, I double checked and went to all the places and checked my email to make sure it was legit, and it is indeed legit. That was my first thought. I thought it was someone photoshopping this pic, and I wasn't going to get fooled, but I fooled myself. That was my first initial reaction. What did you think?
I was like, oh, look, it's Superman. Like I had a very neutral reaction to this photo. It didn't have me jumping for joy, but I honestly do not understand all the negativity around this photo. It's kind of surprising to me, to be honest with you. The only negative thing I personally have taken out of this photo is I don't like the boots. But then again, I'm never going to look at Superman's feet. They'll probably never be on screen. I won't see the boots. It's weird. I kind of like, this is going to sound really comic book nerd. I like when Superman's boots kind of form an M at the top and they kind of slope down on an angle. That's the style of Superman boot I like. I don't like these.
It's kind of like that, right?
This kind of looks more like a U. I get it. They tried. It looks very New 52 overall, which is fine. Collars are in. Batman has a collar now. Superman also has a collar, so it's a fashion statement. I'm all for it. I'm into the background. I don't understand the complaint that it looks like AI. The man shoots his movies in front of a green screen. It's all AI. I don't get that. That doesn't bother me at all. It looks like Superman's getting ready to go save Metropolis. Let's go. Like, I just don't get it. I'm sorry.
I will say I was I was underwhelmed. I truly thought, oh, this someone did a really good Photoshop.
So wait, were you more into the Cavill release, the Routh release? You know, like
Yeah.
were those were you those like I don't know, like to me, I was like, all right, here we go.
I can't say I'm gonna sit here and go, oh, it was horrible, and it did nothing for me. It did nothing for me. And usually I really like the first. I get excited for the first, especially with characters I like. I like Superman, of course. I love Batman, Spider-Man. Mainly those are three. And I usually get a kick out of seeing how they adapt comic books to whatever live action suit wise. But I was underwhelmed. I have very little interest in this movie, and this did nothing to move the needle in either direction. I mean, it looks like a Superman suit. I really like the logo. I said that as soon as we saw the logo. I really like that logo. It just, I don't know. And then I would have liked a more, to me, maybe if it was a more heroic classic Superman shot, hands on his hips and maybe, smiling a little bit. I don't know. And then there's the background annoys me just because I'm annoyed by all these DC characters in the film. I mean,
I don't know what that is. If that's Brainiac, I can't say anything.
I
know.
I don't know. I know.
I don't know what it is. But I'm leaning towards it's Brainiac.
I know it's a tease. Metropolis, they just looked more like, you take out the big whatever, the Green Lantern construct or Lex Luthor laser, because it's got that purple greenish. I don't know. I don't have no idea.
Is that what you think that is? I just kind of assumed that was
the
ship firing or the like the reaction of entering orbit. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
And it's just, I mean, obviously
you're assuming that green part is the Green Lantern, so we're getting our first.
No, I don't.
A Green Lantern.
It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me because you got Green Lanterns in here.
I just got to be in it, but I think that the only person in this shot is Superman.
I get it. It's a tease. I thought I will say it looked very CGI-ish, and you just said, yeah, of course.
But that's the one thing that really shocks me is AI is basically CGI, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like I was like, where did he shoot Guardians? Did he hop in a rocket ship?
I mean,
like, it's green screen. Most of the guys' movies are green screen. Most movies are green screen in general. The focus for me is Superman. I just dig the fact that he looks like he's getting ready. I like that he was probably just hanging out. Maybe he was just hanging out with Lois. Maybe Ma was over for lunch. I don't know.
He lives in some high rise apparently, so he's really making some serious bucks to have a high rise in Metropolis at the Daily Planet.
I can't. I'm not going to dig that into it.
I've liked.
Maybe that's the Daily Planet. Maybe he just found maybe he's in Perry's office.
Why isn't he in the broom closet, the janitor's closet?
What difference does he make where he is as long as he gets changed and goes out there though?
Okay. It did nothing for me. It did nothing for me. The suit, I like the S logo. He's gun included the trunks off. It appears. Which I can do without those, or I can do it doesn't matter either way to me. I prefer not to have them.
I like the separation of color a little bit more. I think it's aesthetically pleasing.
It's the red. He's got a red cape. He's got red boots. The boots were kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say clownish, but they were a little thicker. I mean, the whole suit is kind of bulky. It looks kind of bulky.
I don't know. It looks like a little bulky around the shoulders, maybe.
Yeah, it looks bulky. I don't care one way or the other about the collar.
Everything's kind of clumped together. If he was standing, it'd be one thing. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I will say that I liked seeing Cavill's first shot and even Brandon Routh. And of course, I go back as a kid when those first shots of Christopher Reeve. That was in front of the flag, right? They did
that, and there was one
right
some
for Old Glory.
There's some he did like in New York City. He's on the top of a building, and it looks like I don't like Manhattan.
That would have been fun. Any building, I don't care.
And he's doing various Superman poses, and then there's that one of him at point. He's like that. I remember as a kid loving that, and
a buddy of mine, Paul Herman, he likes to tell me this, and I think it's really solid advice, is don't really complain about the suit until you see it in motion. Actually see it move. There were sometimes like some shots of Affleck, he looked like the Michelin Man, right? He had the puffy neck, but sometimes in the movie when he moved, you didn't really see it the way that suit worked. You got to wait till we see it in a trailer or something. Like when we got that first screen test of the Batman, we got a real good look at that suit and how that functioned and everything. It really put us in a better place than just the still. Those things also take into account.
That's fair. I just underwhelmed. That's it. I'm don't want to prejudge and say,
are you underwhelmed, Bill, because you're just not into this in general and it's just kind of happening and you're kind of like, all right, let me see what this is about.
I'm kind of waiting to see something that gets me okay,
excited. You want something to charge you.
And sorry, I'm turning my phone off, y'all, if you're listening at home.
No, you
turn the volume off.
I don't know. I can't say you got the juices flowing, but I'm just
like I said, I have like very little, if any, interest in this. The whole shared universe and them bringing in these non-Superman DC characters because of that. I don't care what anybody says, including James Gunn, that makes sense to the story. If they weren't, this was just a Superman film, just a standalone. We're going to make a Superman film and then go from there. You wouldn't have Green Lantern and Hawk Girl and all these characters in this film, period. I mean,
that I agree with.
That's period. I don't want to hear about execution and all this other excuse making. They
are clearly world building. That's what they are doing.
Yes.
They're world building.
We'll get to that in a minute because I'm going to talk about Marvel and Disney and all that, and the mess that they found themselves in right now because of that. But anyway, I was hoping somewhere in me, I get this, if I see the suit for the first time. I did get a little charge out of it when they showed the first logo, because I like the logo. I like the logo.
Okay.
Did it move the needle maybe a little bit toward the positive, and then kind of eased back? And then it didn't do anything for me. I just don't care. And I don't know where I'm going to end up. It's like, I'm at this point, this is like be a movie. I'd skip the presser and maybe see it on the second or third weekend. Maybe. I just, no interest. None.
That's interesting in itself. If I had to pick one of the three that I probably got the most jazzed about that I've seen between Routh, Cavill, and now David, I actually like Routh's reveal a lot more than the other two. I just appreciate how I could see. I appreciate the classic pose. It looks like he's on top of the Daily Planet and he's just going to go fly off into the sky. But I really don't have any problem with this one. I dig the fact he's just, strapping up his leg, as Alfred would say, and he's going out to take care of business. To me, this feels more Superman than a lot of other things I've heard about this movie. So that's just my 2 cents.
Well, it's Superman. And I will agree. I mean, I'm one who always preaches, don't judge costumes based on pictures. I agree with that. And, casting.
I don't like the Dark Knight suit, but I also don't care because the movie's just that badass.
Yeah.
It's, to me, sometimes it looks like a puzzle, but it's the last thing I'm worried about when I'm watching that film.
I like the Batman Begins suit better.
The Begins suit's great. Yeah.
I like the fact that the neck, they got it where it's kind of, he puts the cowl on and there's the neck. And if you could kind of combine that with the Begin suit, I thought the legs were a little busy.
Yeah. The legs bother me a lot, but again, I don't see them on screen, so it's not a problem.
The top, I didn't mind, but anyway, whatever. So I know, there's some people, there are people who like everything and whatever, but bless your heart. I
try to find enjoyment at least in everything.
Yeah. So I'm hoping at some point, I mean, because Superman, I grew up a Superman fan. I was always a Batman first and foremost, but Superman was right there along with Spider-Man, and Superman and Spider-Man go back and forth. The last Spider-Man outing, that trilogy of, the home, whatever in hell you want to call it, the Homecoming, No Way Home, Let's Go Home, Home is Too Far Away. I mean, Home on the Range, Spider-Man, Home on the Range, whatever the hell they were.
Texas Spider-Man.
Yeah, they were just didn't like MCU Spider-Man. So Pete gives it a thumbs up, the Superman suit. I am just neutral, completely neutral. I have nothing good really to say except I love it's red, blue, and yellow, and he has a cape and red boots, and I like the S a lot, and that's about it.
How long do you think it will take Todd McFarlane to make an action figure? Like, is he pumping them out right now? Like, I'm just
sure.
curious.
I'm sure. Well, I would.
He's got to have the design.
I
right?
would. Oh yeah, absolutely. All that stuff's already in marketing and going out to the merchandising already.
Okay, so they've known what Supermans look like for a while. I'm wondering just how many people have actually.
That's how some of that shit leaks sometimes.
Yeah, I would bet. Yeah. They get the first hands on it.
Because all that stuff gets it really early, and all the promotion, like the promotional artwork.
Yeah. That's why Robin looks different in Batman Forever promo art.
I know someone who was privy to the Batman designs long before anything became public because of they were working on marketing stuff and so they knew what Catwoman looked like and whatnot. So that's how.
That was another one. We got that action figure came with like a full face mask, when by the time the movie came out, she had the half mask.
Yeah. So shift gears, I'm a DC guy for the most part. Yeah, for the most part. I am a DC guy. I'm a Batman guy first and foremost. And by association, Batman's a DC character. So I grew up gravitating toward the DC characters. Mainly Superman is the other one. So long story short, anyway, the only Marvel character I liked was Spider-Man. That was 100% because of that original Spider-Man animated series. Loved that when I was a kid.
It's a classic show.
Loved it. I had 3 homemade suits as a kid. Well, no, I'll take that. My first 3 homemade superhero comic book suits were Batman was first when I was 4. You've seen that picture before.
Yes.
I'm sure. I had a Superman outfit, homemade, and I had a Spider-Man one because of that animated cartoon.
There you go.
And later on, I had a Captain Marvel, Shazam Captain Marvel in the early 70s when that 70s TV show that Saturday morning came out, and I had a Flash mask, just the mask. Go around wearing that. So anyway,
cosplayer Bill Ramey.
But MCU Disney, Bob Iger, and then also who's the head honcho there at Disney, and then Louis D'Esposito, who is co-head honcho of Marvel Films, both telling various. Well, I think Bob Iger comes from his meeting with shareholders and all that. You know how they have that every quarter, and then Mr. Esposito followed up through Empire by way of Variety, and basically they're saying now, we learned a lesson. We're going to make 2 or 3 films a year, 1 or 2 TV shows. Lesson learned. I say that's too late, too effing late, my friends. Because
isn't that what they're doing now? How many do you I don't know. I stopped keeping track of them because they did start pumping things out like it was nobody's business.
I would
the
say
thing about Marvel Studios is that's all they do. Like, everyone has to realize all the other studios, they all do other things. And I'm still really not convinced that DC Studios exists because I feel like they just operate like Warner Brothers still.
Marvel Films also still is under Disney.
Yeah.
It goes through Bob Iger. It goes through Disney, He
Yeah.
was the first one who said it. So it's not like they can do whatever in the hell they want to do.
No, but I mean, and just in terms of Marvel, they're just so focused on that. That's it. Like it's just that lore. You know, they don't have to worry about other movies essentially. They're just worried about their continued. That's where like this producer driven storyline kind of goes. It's like the narrative is that like Feige angle, right? And then he just kind of puts his superhero movies around the angle.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just Marvel. They don't have to worry about making like a I don't say like a rom-com, but like a
No, I
traditional
mean Disney
type thing like
oversees
that.
Disney oversees all of it. Star Wars, Disney,
Mm-hmm.
the Marvel stuff. They own everything now except for what? Spider-Man. They just lease out
The film
Spider-Man.
rights to Spider-Man, yeah, that's still
Yeah.
Sony. Sony
Yeah.
will never give that up,
No, they won't.
and
So
they should.
it would be. Nah, I'd rather stay right there at Sony. Don't go to. I didn't. The MCU Spider-Man did nothing for me to make me think that
I
they
think No
need
Way
to put
Home's a
him,
bit overrated. I think Homecoming's actually very good, but yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a bit overrated.
let's be honest. I mean, Sony has cranked out some really good Spider-Man movies.
I will say Columbia did when when it became Sony. I think it became amazing. I think I do think the MCU Spider-Man is much better than the Amazing era. I still don't think it just holds his jockstrap to the Ramey era. That's
No, that was the Ramey era is great.
it was like yeah,
That's Columbia
yeah.
Sony, and it's
Was it before
look,
Sony bought them? I thought it was just
I
straight
like
up old Columbia.
still,
Yeah. I can't keep up with these monopolies anymore.
it's the same thing. I still, it's not Disney. It's all I care about.
That's true. That's
okay.
Fair. I'll give you that.
I like the Amazing Spider-Man. I wasn't a big fan of the second one, but the first one I enjoyed. And
a lot of begins in there.
Those two animated Spider-Verse films are great.
They're good. Yeah.
So yeah, Spider-Man can stay right over there where it's at. Okay. Quit going over to Disney and quit getting shit from Tony Stark and suits and iron suits and all that other
I agree.
bullshit. Anyway,
Spider-Man.
So now they've just figured out. Yeah, I think we might have oversaturated the market ourselves. We too much of this. Really?
Yeah,
really.
I think that's very obvious.
That out? Yeah.
But I also think that the greed of Hollywood also participated, because it's just like every studio had to get their superhero movie. It wasn't the fact that we were just getting superhero movies from Marvel. It was like everybody just jumped on this train. Like I feel like sometimes you would see like competing movies. Like you would get like, I don't know, like 2 asteroid movies coming out at the same time, or there'd be these 2 disaster movies, or like the end of the things would almost come in pairs. But now it was like every studio had their own character, and they just, that for like, let's say 10 to 15 years, all anybody was doing was superhero content. I just think Hollywood itself oversaturated the market, but Marvel's probably at the top of that list because they produce the most, because that's all they focus on is superhero content.
And to me, I mean, 2 or 3 films, I'm like you. That's what they've been doing. How about 1 or 2? They only got 1 this year. That's probably a good thing. That's
maybe the phases are just too large right now. Shorten up the phases. I don't know.
Stop having phases. Why don't you just make good movies?
That should probably be the next phase, is just make no phase.
There should be one phase. Yes,
because it seems like every phase takes 4 to 3 to some movies to build up to a mega event, which is that 4th.
Here's the thing.
It's like maybe just don't do that gigantic ensemble film. I don't know.
It is indisputable the success that MCU had with the Infinity Saga. Indisputable. I wouldn't even argue against it. But there are 2 sides of that pancake. 2 sides. They also, by doing the shared universe with that one overall Infinity Saga storyline, where are they going to go next? They told the story, and what came afterwards has flopped for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, it was a happenstance. It was organic. Yeah, I mean they
And they essentially retired that entire cast that everybody loved.
I mean, they released Iron Man and it was a hit. And that's kind of what got the ball rolling. And it did get the ball rolling. And it was just, you just can't make things happen. That's what we've seen with Warner Brothers now. And two times now, you had the DCEU, which was forced, and it completely tanked and was a disaster. And now they're trying it again after they've already failed at a point where the genre is kind of on shaky ground. Why don't you just make good movies? Why does it have to connect? Why do you have to have Green Lantern and all these other characters? Can't you just make a damn Superman movie? Hey y'all, it's Bill Ramey, founder of Batman on Film. Let's take a quick pause in this podcast for these words from our sponsor.
Yeah, it seems like they are just repeating their steps that they did the last time, right? Let's get a bunch of characters in an ensemble film. A lot of it reminds me of BVS.
I truly believe that the tone with these new DCU films will be different. I know some of the criticism with that Superman picture was like he looks mopey and okay, that's whatever, but I'm sure Gunn goes all in on happy.
That's what I've never been really that excited to put on shoes. So I just think that the genre is just at a point to where, it's overexposed. There's no doubt about it. It's overexposed. It's everywhere.
Disney will never do again the MCU success. They'll never have that.
Yeah, but will the greed of Hollywood allow them to admit that? Will they think that they still think they're a machine? They still think they can pump these out. They still think the audience will come. They, regardless of what they say in the trades and on Twitter or whatnot, their actions speak louder than their words, and they continue to do the same thing.
Let's be honest. They did this. They did what they did, and it should be a credit to them. It is a credit to them. They did that with a bunch of B and C list characters.
Well, that's another thing. They also have no heavy hitters anymore. They created heavy hitters out of C list characters, like you said, and then they retired them all. So now Thor's pissed off. Unfortunately, the Black Panther that everyone loves has come and gone. Spider-Man is their only real heavy hitter. Where we got to wait to see what happens after Deadpool, because I imagine the X-Men are coming around the corner. I think Marvel is really riding on or banking on the X-Men coming in to save them.
Those characters, Iron Man, Thor, all of them were
Black Widow.
They were great together. They were A-list together. Mm-hmm. And they became that way through those films.
Yeah.
It's not like Batman, where Batman can be rebooted with a different take. He's we'll probably never see another Black Widow. Another Hawkeye, right? You're not going to. You can reboot solo. You can't. It's hard to reboot when they're all when they are one, when they are the Avengers, and we're going to reboot the whole thing and do another Avengers storyline.
You kind of saw that with the Fox X-Men. They did kind of a soft reboot at some point where it was the same characters at different stages of their lives, and those movies were hit or miss. So I kind of see what you're saying. I don't know if I totally agree with it, because I think if someone writes a kick-ass movie and people love it, it just doesn't matter,
Who says that Fantastic Four is going to be a big hit?
I have no idea that the past two really haven't been.
It hasn't been. And goes, I've heard people go, well, yeah, but I get these buts. Yeah, but they got the Fantastic Four coming. Yeah, but
I think the X-Men's way more popular than Fantastic Four. You've seen the reaction, at least online, to X-Men 97. That brought a lot of older fanboys back my age. That brought a new generation into that. People are digging that cartoon. They're going back and watching an old cartoon. The X-Men is a very powerful brand, and the fact that Marvel has held off as long as they did fascinates me. And I really do think they're counting on post Deadpool Wolverine, the X-Men saving the day.
And then then what you're doing is you're going to an A-lister. So it'd be like, because I count the X-Men as one also. That's
I agree.
A group. Okay.
It's kind of like the DCU bringing in Batman to save the
It's
Superman
like Batman. But the X-Men, those latter films were fizzling out.
They were, but there is a buzz right now. I know it's one and done, but there's a huge buzz around the Jackman appearance.
Okay.
People are even non-fanboys or Jackman
maybe
is a name.
I can't speak to that one way or the other because I got
buddies who don't pay attention to any of this and are excited about Hugh Jackman. Specifically Hugh Jackman coming back. Like, you know.
Well, I think
but then this might be one and done.
You know, Deadpool was a happenstance. That was for Fox, you know. That first Deadpool movie wasn't, you know, this is the first Disney MCU.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do. They say it's not toned down. I'm very interested to see how much Ryan Reynolds can push. Isn't it just a very meta cameo filled? Hey, we're in the MCU now type of thing. I don't know. I haven't seen it. All I know is the trailer.
That's what I heard.
The trailer.
I had heard that. So
but
one thing
if you tell me that's what the movie is, I wouldn't be surprised that that's what it would be. You know, apparently everyone's in this movie, from Terrence Stamp Stick to Ben Affleck's Daredevil. You know, like everyone who's ever been in Marvel characters apparently in this movie, and that's exactly what they all said for Multiverse of Madness. And that wasn't the case, but that movie's fantastic. If you've never watched that movie, I think you would dig that. That's good Sam Raimi.
That is so, you know, we talked about that before. I am so not up on anything MCU that I would be completely, I think I'd be lost completely. I did like the,
I think we had this conversation. Strange. I think you should watch it and report back, to be honest.
I didn't watch that, you know, what's her name? The witch. I don't even know her damn name.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch. I'd be fascinated to see your reaction to that. I probably know what it is. But
didn't that TV show play a lot into
yeah, she eventually, from that TV show, she essentially becomes the villain of that movie.
Yeah.
Which you know, digs into a lot of your points there. It's all connected.
Yeah. That's the problem. That's the problem. So you tell me, okay, you can role play. If I ask you, so you're a diehard, it's got to be all connected, got to have a shared universe guy. Pretend that. Because I know you can go either way when it comes to that stuff. So if I would ask that person, why can't you just have a Superman film? Why do you need it to connect to all the other DC stuff? Why do you need all these films to have a overarching storyline that's thread throughout? Why do you have why you need that as opposed to just make a Superman film, make a Green Lantern film, make a Batman film, make a Wonder Woman film, make a let's see, Ambush Bug film, make a Stretchy Guy movie. I don't care which one, plastic, make a team up Stretchy Guy movie.
I'm actually trying to think of an answer, and it's very hard for me because I just don't think that way at all. Why does it all need to be connected?
Yeah. Other than, well, that's the way I want it. I just want that. Because I grew up watching Justice League Unlimited. I honestly can't come up with an answer because I don't think I'll read a Justice League comic book every once in a while, but I don't even read like team up books. It's not something because a hero and a
sidekick I'll read, but when I read a Flash book, I read it for the Flash.
When I ask that question, the things I get, and I got to eliminate that, is it's like that in the comic books. Well, not really, if you know not completely like that if you know the history of DC. But the animated, it works in animation. Well, that's animation. It's aimed at a specific group of people. Okay.
Yeah, we're in the minority when it comes to these movies.
If you tell me
as the fan base,
I just want it. I respect that. At least you're being honest. I just want it, but don't tell me, oh, it can work.
I think there's a large group of people
it worked.
who want to see their favorite characters interact on screen. I think that
Why?
I think there's a lot of people who just want to see that happen.
So
I think
you
some of it has to do with jealousy because I think DC. I remember the early years, like around like phase 2 of the MCU when they were really kicking DC's ass. There was a lot of animosity online among DC fans being jealous. They got that. We want that too. We got the
But,
better characters. We
okay.
want that. I think there's some
So
of
these
that.
are
I think some people
so
are
these
total
folks,
nerds.
these fans are well, yeah, they are, but they're also they would say I'm a DC fan. I'm a DC fan first, like everything DC, and then the individual characters are secondary.
Mhm.
Because I'm right? That's what I'm asking?
Yeah, I guess I'm just like I would say I prefer DC.
I don't
read Marvel.
I don't care how big.
Interesting way of thinking.
And it was big. They've never had anything like the Dark Knight trilogy.
Somebody's going to give you the end game. Someone's going to give you end game and
a single character.
No, I agree. I mean,
don't count Spider-Man because Spider-Man was
over.
Well,
that's not theirs.
Sony. Yeah, no, exactly. So don't tell me that.
If you like top, it doesn't even. I would. The Reeves movie's only really one. I guess I would count Superman too. Yeah, like it doesn't even crack the top 3 because it's going to go Dark Knight trilogy, Ramey, and then probably Donner, Lester, Superman.
Yeah.
Right. We're talking Solo. Maybe, if you wanted to argue X-Men X2, I think because of the greatness of X2, you might be able to do it. Logan itself as a standalone film, I think, is a pretty epic. I think it kind of goes toe to note with the Dark Knight.
Great movie, but it wasn't Dark Knight trilogy level.
No, but I think it came as close as anybody really. I think it came really close. No, I get you. I'm no disputing how great Dark Knight ever was. But I think Logan is something very special in itself.
It's a great film. It's I could put it in my top 5 comic book films.
Mm-hmm.
I probably could.
Wonder Woman 1, the first Wonder Woman 1 was special. Yeah, I just individual characters, I would put all those things over anything. Yeah. I mean, maybe Captain America, the first Captain America. I love that movie.
I love it too.
I dig that one.
But they weren't all these.
They're not Dark Knight. No.
But they weren't cultural phenomenon.
Yeah. 89 did that all by itself. That was one movie.
Huge.
The trilogy, the trilogy was great because it snuck up on you with Begins. Dark Knight took over the world, and then everyone was just captivated by Rises, regardless of what they thought at the end. When Rises was coming, that was the focus of everything.
Yeah.
But someone would argue, I guarantee Holzman's going to argue Winter Soldier and Endgame and Infinity War. That's what he loves. And I love Eric, but he's crazy.
Disney/MCU has never had a solo superhero film, solo character that anything like the Dark Knight or Batman.
That's a fact. And it's true on many reasons, and mostly because they stopped doing those movies after like phase 2.
And were, and again, it goes back to the point, but as a group, but together, as it melded
the general
in,
does the general audience care about Solo versus like when like say some general audience people are talking about that? Do you think they're going to dissect it like we do? I don't think so. Between Solo and team up,
dissect it like we do? No. Do they? But they expect Batman to be Solo, and it's preferred Solo, dark, relatively grounded. Those have been the preferred takes with the general audience. But I still think somewhere down the line, someone could write a good team up. I just don't think we've seen it yet, but it could happen. I can't say it'll never happen. Yeah. I don't know look, I know you've been bearish on the future of Batman on film. I've been more bullish. I think Batman is Teflon. I think Spider-Man is Teflon. I think that's it. Those two, they're Teflon. They can be rebooted. They can have trilogies. They can different takes and still be succspider-Man and people still go see
I think those two will never stop.
No.
When Batman and Superman Batman and Spider-Man stop getting movies made, the genre is dead. Yeah. That's doomsday. When Batman and Spider-Man
100%.
no longer draw an entrance, the genre is completely dead.
Well, I hope Superman does well, the film.
I do too.
I hope, we're about what, a year away from it almost. When's it come out? July? Is it a July or June release?
I can't remember. I know it's a J.
Oh, come
I
on,
can't
man.
remember.
You would know. You always have your ears.
No, I
around.
wouldn't know. You want to know why? Because the next thing I'm worried about is called the Penguin
Well,
or the
that's
Joker.
okay.
Because that's in October.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
could be dead before this next Superman.
That's how I was going to
wrap.
That's how I was going to tie it all up. Is even though here we are talking about Superman, and I'm bitching and complaining and about the MCU and Disney ruining the genre. You know what else? I'm gonna say
We got more time to complain about it.
About those some bitches.
Penguin and Joker are gonna be here and gone.
It hurt the way people, the general audience, go and fans too. They go see these superhero films and they expect Easter eggs, post-credit scenes, and all that. They expect it.
I think people expect post-credit scenes now after every movie. I feel like it's become like a standard almost. Like I feel like people just I go to the movies. I still see people at non MCU movies waiting after credits.
I saw him do that for the Batman, and when I knew there wasn't one, just because.
Sometimes I like the song, I hang out.
The greatest post-credit scenes of all time is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, the original.
Yes,
that was the first one, wasn't it?
Possibly. I can't say definitively if it was, but it's the greatest. But going back to what you. Yeah, I'm worried about what's next. And what's coming next for me are two Batman-related things. We got, one straight up, the Penguin. That's right. That's the next chapter of the Batman saga.
I know. It's literally the sequel to the Batman. Like, I don't think enough fanboys are talking about that. The sequel to the Batman is coming out. It's called the Penguin.
It is.
The sequel to the Penguin is in pre-production.
It is.
We're getting the sequel to the Batman. Let's get excited for this. Come on. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's get the crowd riled up. We're getting the sequel to the
You're
Batman.
preaching to the choir here because yes, it's coming. We're getting close to halfway through the year and it's going to be out. We've already we've given our prediction of when it'll be out. I'm saying like it'll come late October and it'll finish before the end of this year. So it's coming.
Once we pass the glorious date of July 4th, the summer flies. Once you pass Independence Day, the summer just flies by and you are getting ready with your winter coat faster than you know it. So
and then you've got you got Joker 2 coming, which I am very excited for it just because it seems crazy as hell. Yes. And those are immediate.
Yeah.
Those are immediate.
And then I'll worry about what's after that.
Yeah. There you go. And we'll leave look, I did not overly bitch about the Superman suit. I didn't really say anything bad about it. I just said it didn't overwhelm me.
Yeah,
it looked like Superman. Hey, I'll say it again. I like that S logo.
It looks good.
You like the S logo?
I dig it. I'm ready to go.
You like that Kingdom Come looking S logo?
Yeah, I do. I appreciate that they've all had their own logos. I like that. I like it's not the same thing. Like Batman,
I tell you what,
Keaton has his logo, Val has his, George.
I tell you what may move the needle a little bit for me on this is when they release a picture of Rachel Brosnahan as Lois.
What would you like? Would you like
Superman
Superman and Lois, or would you like Clark and Lois together? I imagine you get a twofer.
I'm old school. I like when she doesn't know Clark is Superman, and there's that dynamic of her thinking.
Yeah, but isn't there like that kind of like that old school George Reeves photo where he's like standing shoulders on hips, and then Lois is kind of like standing in front of him, and you're like, is that in the intro or something? I don't know. I feel like I've seen that.
That's just
Yeah, as a promo photo, I don't know. I would like to see Clark and Lois.
So. That's new. That's relatively, in this grand scheme of Superman history, Lois knowing Superman and
Oh,
Clark.
she doesn't have to know,
Yeah.
but it's like I'm also thinking like I saw pictures. Remember the pictures of Val and what's her face for Batman Forever? You know,
Yeah.
like she finds out he's Batman by the end of the movie. Nicole Kidman.
No,
But,
I
like,
just
the
want.
promo
Oh,
art,
no,
they're
no,
just
no.
they got the two of them looking sexy as hell taking pictures.
I just want to see just Rachel Brosnahan as Lois.
Okay.
I don't need Superman or Clark Kent in there with her. Now they want to put her with a stretchy guy.
You just got a thing for
fine.
Rachel's.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's it.
I got a crush on Rachel Brosnahan. I said that before.
Thing for Rachel's.
Yeah, they got a thing for Rachel's. All right. So there you have it.
If you
So,
ever get Brosnahan's number, you know, you don't have to, it's the same name, so she won't know.
Yeah, Rachel.
Right?
Rachel.
If Rachel's texting you, she just
Hey,
like,
now.
I text Bill, you didn't answer.
I'm good with announcer Rachel. Okay.
I'm never invited for gumbo again.
I got an R tattooed on my finger. I got a freaking wedding date on my forearm. So
You're set
I'm
for
good.
life.
Yes, I'm set. So all right. Batman on film. We will not blow smoke up your rear end, nor will we pump sunshine. But when we get excited for things like the Penguin,
That sounds like a t-shirt.
and it does. The Penguin and Joker 2, yes, we'll get excited about that. We'll pump a little of that for you. All right. Some people complain, you know, they want shows where it's just everything's hunky dory and we're whistling and singing and skipping.
I'm sure they're out there.
And everything is awesome. You know, remember that song? Everything is awesome. All right. You want to plug anything or mention anything?
Yeah,
here?
you can follow me socially at Pete Illustrated, Twitter, Instagram. I do a podcast with Eric Holzman about fanboy news straight out of Gotham at straight_O_G on Instagram, Twitter. There's a Facebook group and a Facebook fan page if you like what goes on in the baseball. In the Batman Facebook group, Batman on Film Facebook group, check out ours. I do a Spider-Man podcast, the Spidey Coalition. A new episode drops yesterday, so check that out. And I'm all over Batman-on-film-com. I'm all over there. So
You read
YouTube as well.
You read Spider-Man comics regularly?
Oh wow, yeah. I'm trying to think like I'm on a run here.
because I have no idea what's even going on.
Well, if
Spider-Man
you want to, I
comics.
recap monthly Spider-Man
Okay,
on
so
my
it's-
podcast. So if you're interested and you want to catch up, or
Isn't
you want to
there?
just
Okay,
talk
you
about it.
had one that told me there's like the new Ultimate.
Yes, the Ultimate
Universe.
Spider-Man line is fantastic. Please read that. I think everyone loved that. Real different stuff, change of pace, but it's really great writing. Hickman's doing it. Fascinating stuff.
And there's still regular Spider-Man, right?
Amazing is it's as wonky. It's not as wonky as Batman. It's better. I'll say this. I've said it online. I compare Spider-Man comics to Batman comics because of sheer volume, popularity, sidekicks.
Yeah.
Quality of Spider-Man books destroys the quality of Batman books being printed right now, including Black Label. Spider-Man books are top tier at the moment. All sidekicks, all characters, and they're literally just doing what Batman.
Spider-Man
can do,
has a
so.
sidekick.
Spider-Man has actually, yes, he does. He does. So it's the latest one is Spider-Boy. But there are other
Spider-Boy.
spiders in the city.
I was
Yeah.
going to say that as a
Spider-Boy.
joke.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
it's interesting. But yeah,
He-
overall the content that's going on in Spider-Man. is much
Spider-Boy
better
can
than
cling to
Batman.
walls and all that. He has spider powers too.
He has everything but webs. Everything but webs. He has no webs.
Well, doesn't he use he makes his own web shooters,
Spider-Man
right?
does not let it. It's part of his training program. He's not allowed to use webs.
He doesn't shoot out any webs anymore.
No, Spider-Boy doesn't. Spider-Man, it's part of the
Oh.
whole storyline.
So he won't give him the web shooters until he's ready to shoot webs.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. You learn something new every day, man.
There you go. But again, like sheer volume and everything between the two characters, the quality of Spider-Man books is very impressive right now, including just how insane most of the storylines are. Like they're trying to be as crazy as Batman, but they're just much better at writing it.
You can get away with crazy stuff because Spider-Man is,
A mutant. Oh,
he's a
he's got mutant
fantastic,
ability. Not a mutant.
fantastical character.
Yeah,
You like
radioactive.
last thing before I get out of here. Let announcer Rachel. Speaking of announcer Rachel earlier, let her take over here in a second. Wouldn't you like that new Batman costume in Batman? Have you seen it?
Batman. No, I haven't read the latest issue of Batman yet. I didn't know he got a new suit. I'm sure it's horrible. Man, it just
It's all
poor
right.
Heyman is such a great artist, but he's been so wasted.
Yeah, he's got a new suit.
Shame.
Check it out.
I'm sure he's ready to take on a robot.
That's part of it. Yeah. All
There
right.
you go.
Announcer Rachel will finish up here. Catch you next time.
You have been listening to the BOF Social Hour, Jett's official podcast on Batman on Film. Follow BOF on Threads at The Batman on Film. Follow BOF on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Batman on Film. To help keep BOF up and running, go to patreon.com/BatmanOnFilm, or you can buy BOF a beer at buymeacoffee.com/TheRealBatmanOnFilm. For Jett and everyone at BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original, Batman on Film, founded in 1998.
Say goodbye, Graceland.